Okay, I'm here with you, Professor Grace Mulcahy at the Balmoral Show. The weather is wonderful, and it's great to see so many people out enjoying themselves and enjoying the great weather as well. But we're here to talk about all things AFBI. So we'll just start with our first question. If you could just talk to us about the work of AFBI and your role.
Thanks very much, and absolutely it's wonderful to be here in such a sunny day, and the buzz is mighty, is great around here. So AFBI, the Agricultural and Food Biosciences Institute, is an arm's length body of DAERA, and our role really is to serve as scientific advisor and as scientific service provider to our parent department, DAERA. And so we serve DAERA's priorities, and through them Northern Ireland society. We're working on providing the science to support protection of the environment, biodiversity, water quality, including Lough Neagh, and also sustain or support sustainable agri-food production. So within that, there's a huge different variety of scientific services and efforts that we offer. We do research, we do surveillance, we protect Northern Ireland against the threat of animal diseases coming in, exotic diseases. And within that, then, we have a whole body of scientists and other staff who are supporting the health and welfare of Northern Ireland. And we really like to think that we serve the mission of One Health, which means supporting the health and welfare of animals, livestock, of plants, and through that of humans as well. So One Health very much is at the heart of all that we do.
And your role in all this?
My role is chair of the board of the Institute, and I've been in that role since the 1st of November 2024. So the board works really to direct the high-level strategy of AFBI, and we support the executive management team and their functions, and we also communicate with our parent department and with the minister. And I'm very fortunate to work with a really excellent board. We have a whole range of expertise on the board. We have science expertise, we have expertise in governance and management, in business, and in finance. So that's our role. We don't get involved in operational matters, but we do set high-level strategy and targets working with the executive management.
Okay. And you're obviously a returning board member, this time as chair. What changes have you seen in AFBI over the years?
Well, I'm a lot older for a start. I was on the first ever AFBI board after the Institute set up in 2006. I was appointed. So quite a lot has happened in that time. Not so much in the physical shape or facilities of AFBI. We still have our headquarters in New Forge Lane, for example, and that hasn't changed an awful lot. I think the scientific equipment has changed because science is a fast-moving field, and equipment needs to be updated very frequently. I've seen a change in the staff component and the staff makeup of AFBI as well. We have a lot of really young, committed scientists on our staff, young people who are idealistic and really want to make a difference. And I think what we need to do to foster continued change as AFBI continues to develop and serve its mission is really provide increased opportunities and an enhanced environment for those really young, committed scientists to fulfil the objectives of AFBI in support of Northern Ireland society.
Okay, and obviously AFBI is at Balmoral every year, and as Northern Ireland's largest research and scientific services provider, why is it so important for you to be here and have a presence at Balmoral?
So it's really important. Balmoral Show is the premier and the largest event, I think, where the agricultural community of Northern Ireland is represented. And we meet all kinds of people here, not just those directly involved in farming, but a much wider stakeholder selection from society as well. And so it's really important for AFBI to communicate what we do, but also to have dialogue with our stakeholders, to interact with the community, to ask them what they would like us to be doing, to get their feedback on what we do, and really to communicate what we do to a wide audience. And communication is not easy, as you will know, being a journalist, and so we must be very professional and very open to listening as well as talking to people. And that's one of the things we're doing here at Balmoral, as well as enjoying the fabulous event put on here today.
Okay, and From a science provider perspective, what are the big issues for farming and how can AFBI help support the industry?
Well, I think we're really at a crossroads now, not just in Northern Ireland, but globally. And I think the really big issues facing society really include things like sustaining agri-food production, feeding the planet at a time when our environment is under threat, where we have climate change happening as we speak. And so we have to be very clever, I think, and use all of the science that we can to make sure we can feed our planet sustainably, provide for an efficient and a profitable agri-food industry, at the same time improving our biodiversity, safeguarding our clean water, our clean air, and safeguarding human health as well as animal and plant health. So to do that and really walk that tightrope is not easy, and it requires all of our ingenuity. And we must be absolutely at the cutting edge of science and use all of the new scientific tools at our disposal, including artificial intelligence and big data, in order to do that. And I'm really happy to see that Minister Muir and the department, with AFBI support, have taken on those twin challenges and are working really, really hard to ensure all the aspects of those challenges are taken forward. And I think we're doing well in that respect.
Okay. And what future scientific advances and areas of research would be the things that most excite you?
So I think at the moment, in science generally, including the areas in which AFBI works, we have a revolution going on in data, how we use data, how we interrogate data, the use of big data and the use of artificial intelligence in an ethical and responsible way as well to manipulate and use that data. And I think farming in the future and food production in the future, together with environmental protection, is going to be reliant on data. And I think one of our directors in AFBI, Elizabeth McGowan, is on track record as saying that the farm of the future is going to be data-driven. And so we have to provide our farmers with efficient and tailored data to enable them to optimize their animal nutrition, for example, their fertilizer use, and the way in which they manage their grassland and their grass production. So it's all about data and information, and it's that kind of science, that big data-driven science, that's going to be the most important in my view as we move into the next period.
Okay. Let's talk now about the soil nutrient health scheme. We're entering the fourth zone of that. Can you tell us a bit about it?
Well, I was just talking to people about the soil nutrient health scheme over at the AFBI stand here. And to me, this is one of the outstanding achievements of AFBI, of DAERA and of Northern Ireland. It's truly revolutionary. And I think once the fourth year of the programme is completed now, there will be a really good baseline, a solid baseline of data, which we can use to optimise how we manage our soils, which are a living ecosystem, the soil microbiome and the chemicals we put into it into the future. And so, you know, how that scheme will develop in the future, I think remains to be seen. But once we have this baseline data, then we can just do more targeted surveys. We can provide farmers with really detailed plans which inform their own use of nutrients. And to me, it's revolutionary. It's got a lot of attention internationally. And I think Northern Ireland really stands out now as a living lab in terms of the soil nutrient health scheme and what it's doing in that scheme. So I'm really very proud to have been, although a Johnny-come-lately, a small part of that. And I think it's an outstanding achievement.
Okay, I want to talk next about the ship that's being built, obviously the research vessel to study the regional seas around Northern Ireland. What stage are we at with that?
So I understand that the ship has been built in the shipyard in Vigo, and it is on target or ahead of target and on budget. And we've been privileged at the board to see pictures of the ship as it's built and little videos. And I know Peter Yan, Sean, another director, is really, really on top of all that work. And I think once the ship arrives, it will provide such an amazing infrastructure. It represents a major investment, of course, on behalf of DAERA as well. And I think it will really enable the excellent work Peter Yan and his colleagues are doing to support our marine environment, to enhance marine and ocean biodiversity, to support fisheries, and so on. So again, to me, the thing about the ship is it emphasises the extent to which the marine environment and fisheries are supported in Northern Ireland, and the support that DARE has provided to AFBI to enable us to do this work.
Okay. And the Vet Sciences department's based at Stormont, and that new animal health science building is being built on the site. What impact will that investment and that new building have on the scientists, and what would the benefit be to wider society?
So again, that represents a really major investment from DARE to AFBI. And I think those facilities that enable us to do that cutting edge research in support of animal health are very expensive. For example, we need containment facilities, we need facilities to handle infectious organisms that we don't want to be, getting out or infecting people handling them. It encompasses a wide range of work from exotic virus infections through to bacterial infections, through to other animal health issues. And very much, I think, if we look at it and strip it back to its very basic level, animals which are healthy, which are free from infectious diseases, are going to be the most productive. And so there are many advances which I think will support animal health in the future. Vaccines, for example, also breeding animals to be more resistant to diseases, and to be at that cutting edge of science to attract the best scientists to AFBI, which we want to do. And we have to have those facilities. So once again, this new building will help us to stay at the forefront of animal disease research and indeed One Health research. Because again, most of the diseases, the infectious diseases infecting humans and COVID-19 is an example, come from animal populations. So we want to be prepared for the next pandemic. And I think it's important pointing out that AFBI scientists, and particularly those in the animal health sciences area, were very useful to Northern Ireland during the pandemic, because we were able to deploy the diagnostic facilities that were used for COVID-19 as part of our labs as well. So that again emphasises the link between animal and human health.
And Grace, you're at the start of your tenure. What do you want your tenure to be marked by?
So I would like to think that my tenure will be marked by innovation, by creativity, by a high level of ambition for AFBI, and by us daring to go beyond and to think outside the box, to be at the forefront of scientific innovation, to harness the power of big data, to be able to use artificial intelligence, to use that data, and to be able to attract the best and the brightest young scientists in the areas in which we work, and to give them a really, really good career path, and to ensure Northern Ireland then is at the forefront of sustainable agri-food production, protecting the environment, and being shown to be a star in that regard, internationally as well as nationally.
And is there anything else that you're keen to highlight before we wrap up?
I would just like to say that although I've been chair of the AFBI board for a relatively short time, it's something that I've really enjoyed, and I'm very excited to be able to work in this area, which is at the crossroads, as I said, of so many global challenges: feeding the planet, ensuring a productive Northern Ireland bioeconomy, and also protecting our environment. And I can't think of any place better equipped to tackle those challenges actually than AFBI. And so we have to have the ambition to be able to meet those challenges, and I think we do. And that's my closing message.
Great. Professor Grace Mulcahy, thank you very much.